Hi, welcome to Bridge Course Biology class, and we are in a continuation with that tissue concept. Yesterday we started that animal tissue concept, and we observed the types of animal tissue, and majorly we concentrated on the first tissue, epithelial tissue, and remaining we are with the three tissues, that is muscular tissue, connective tissue and nervous tissue. And I think already 15 days over when we started our Bridge Course class from the first day onwards. I think this is my 13th class. Along with the Sunday, if we consider already 15 days over, still we are in the introduction only. That means we are revising the concepts that you are already studied in your high schools. So I think now this is a sufficient time to start your syllabus. So for that reason, from the next class onwards, so I am going to start your syllabus, first PU syllabus. Yes. So there we are going to have the chapter titles, which are those botany category chapters and zoology portion chapters. So my portion will be botany. Yes, for your syllabus, when we start tomorrow on in the tomorrow's class, so my portion will be botany. I am handling the botany portion. Totally 22 chapters are there. Out of 22 chapters, 11 chapters are belonging to your botany portion. Those chapters I am going to handle, and remaining zoology portion chapters will be handled by another lecture. So tomorrow you will come to know all those things. And today let me finish this concept, tissue concept. And one more thing, as in the last class itself I told you, so tissue concept, if you expound means it will take 15 days or 1 week, 1 month. So such kind of huge concept, this one tissue concept. Just I am giving the brief introductory part in such a way that just you should come to know the terms used in those tissue concepts. Thoroughly you are going to study when your syllabus gets started at that time, right? And before going to the class, so today and before going to that one, so your response is day by day increasing more. So most of the students are interacting more, and they are asking very interesting questions. I am also eagerly waiting after the class. I will be eagerly waiting for the students who is asking the questions, very interesting questions in such a way. So today we are having two questions. So one question asked by Spurti, another question asked by Basavaraj. We are having two questions, very interesting questions. And one more thing, whenever syllabus will be started, at the time also, if you are getting any interesting questions, so make one video of 10 to 15 seconds, then send me that question. So let's have a small beautiful discussion on that question. So before going to start that one, let's have the discussion on those questions. First, let's see the question asked by Spurti. So let's have the question.
Sir, I want to ask one question. Why do humans have appendix even though it is unnecessary? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Spurti. What is Spurti's question here? So she is asking the question that we are having the appendix, right? Oh, yes, everyone will be having the appendix. Every human being will be having the appendix. We are having the appendix, but it is not having any role in the digestive system. So in the figure already you are seeing where that appendix is present. We are having two intestine portions, small intestine and large intestine. In the large intestine, so at one side bottom we are having a worm like structure, elongated structure. We will refer it as appendix, vermiform appendix, right? So that is attached with that large intestine. What is the role of that appendix? So mostly you have heard this one. So a person get operated for appendicitis. He is suffering from appendicitis. So symptom already you know, a lot of and huge of stomach pain. So that person will be suffering from, if he is having something disturbed with that appendix. Then he will go to the doctor, and doctor will make the surgery. During the surgery he will cut that appendix and remove it. After removing appendix, he will be normal. The question is that even though if you are removing that one, if it is not having any necessary work during the digestion, means what is the role of that appendix? Then why it is present in our digestive system? So this is the question. So very interesting question. Thank you, Spurti. So the reason is that if we consider appendix, not only appendix, so many different parts still we are having in our body. And some those organs will refer them as vestigial organs. right? We are having so many vestigial organs. Vestigial organ means our ancestors were having those organs, and those organs were having their work at that time, but still those organs are present as it is in our body, maybe in small size, but they are not having, those organs do not have any work. Such kind of organs we will refer them as vestigial organs. Appendix also a vestigial organ. So what it indicates, during our evolution we have not arisen as it is in such a way that we arisen slowly, step by step, we developed step by step, and actually when we consider our ancestral form, so our ancestors were looking like gorilla and chimpanzees, right? Then we morpholize, we developed in such a way that now we are looking in this form. That means that slow change we will refer it as evolution. So our ancestor, we will refer him as a primate, ape, primate. So in most of the primates or in our ancestors, if we consider, our ancestors were not eating the cooked food, they were eating the raw food as it is, vegetables or grassy like materials as it is. When our ancestors were eating that one, at that time the appendix was having the role in the digestion process. Actually this concept taught by Charles Darwin. Who is that Charles Darwin? Yes, father of evolution. He said that appendix, it was having the role during the digestion of the food material at that time, but during evolution time, so slowly the human being changed morphologically, genetically, in all the aspects, and his morphological appearance also changed. In the same way, he started cooking the food, he started eating the cooked food. When the food habit changed, at that time slowly digestive system also changed in such a way that most of the digestive parts, they get slightly morphalized, but the thing is that appendix part remained as it is, but in small size. And that appendix part, earlier time it was having the work, but now it is not having any such kind of work, but still it is present. But thing is, when something get disturbed with that appendix, then it leads to lot of pain, that is stomach pain, so lot of abdominal pain. Then the person will go to the doctor, and doctor will make the surgery, and he will cut the appendix, extra appendix part, and he will remove it, and the person becomes normal in normal cases. So that is the thing. But here recently scientists have found that so that appendix also having a particular role. So what is that role? Appendix part, say for example, if this is appendix part, means inside appendix part so many microorganisms are present, so many bacteria are present. Just imagine, it is a very interesting thing, how many cells are present in our body. It's 20 times bacteria are present in our own body. That means how many cells we are having, our own cells, compared to our own cells, more number of bacteria are cells present in our body. So those organisms will refer them as microbiota, and majorly microbiota present in our digestive system. So there may be useful bacteria as well as harmful bacteria, and majorly useful bacteria present in the appendix part, that appendix part. So whenever there is something disturbed in the digestive system, just like diarrhea, ಅತಿಸಾರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, when the diarrhea time, if the digestive system get disturbed, at the time the useful bacteria present in the appendix, they will come outside and clean the digestive system. That means appendix is having the role. But thing is, if you remove the appendix, means there is no problem. But thing is, during the surgery of that appendix, during cutting the appendix, if it is not proper, if something get if the cut is not proper, if the surgery is not proper, then it leads to the other side effects after the surgery also. Yes, right now appendix, it is not having such kind of important organ in your body, but still it is having the work, slight work, and it is a vestigial organ. Yes, thank you Spurti. Yes, we are having another interesting question, very interesting familiar questions. So that's a familiar question asked by Basavaraj. So let's have that second question and have the discussion on that one. Yes, look at the question.
Hi sir, myself Abhishek Basaraj Jivani from Basam Bagewadi, and my question is: when a drunkard drinks some more, he feels improperly while walking, and his body will be unbalancing. Can you answer for this? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Basaraj. What is Basaraj question here? So he is asking that after drinking alcohol, why the person will lose his balance, body balance, right? And already you have seen many such kind of cases in your neighborhood and in our native places. So most of the people, drunken people, they will be spinning on the ground, and for them the surrounding will appear to be spinning. Such kind of things we are seeing in our daily lives. What is the scientific reason behind that one, right? And in one of my videos, while explaining such kind of for such kind of questioning, so there was a question related to the inner ear. Yes, I explained that one. So this is the outer ear, middle ear, and inner ear is inside there. If we consider inner ear, it is having one coiled structure, right? So in the canal, we will call it as a canal. So in that canal coiled structure, there is a lymph, that is a fluid, thick fluid. Lymph is present over there, and from that canal like structure, the vibrations passing to the brain, and the brain will decide what sound that is and what kind of frequency that sound is having. The brain is going to decide. Along with that one, that canal part, it is having very interesting another function to balance our body. In one of my videos I explained that one. So that inner portion will feel the gravity, and it will balance our body in a straight manner while walking, while running, while jumping. So such kind of very important work that portion, canal, is having, inner ear canal. And when we are making our own body rotation, so when we are doing that one, at that time, so that inner portion, that system little bit get disturbed. Because of that reason we feel swimming, that's what, spinning. Our body gets spinning, or the surrounding objects get spinning at that time. We can feel that one. In the same way, when a person drink alcohol, when alcohol enters into the blood, and the blood gets diluted. So that is a major reason. When the blood get diluted, in the same way, that system which is helpful for balancing our body, that is in the inner ear, something get disturbed in that system for a short period of time. At that time, the person feel his body or the surrounding spinning at that time, and he may fall his balance, he may lose his balance, and then he may fall in the ground. So that is the thing. And when that content will be low, at that time the system will get recovered, and he will be steady, and he will get his balance on at that time. So that is the reason here. And thank you, Basaraj, for asking that question. So coming to our last portion, that is in animal tissue. Yesterday we observed that epithelial tissue, and still we have remained with 3 other tissues. The second one is muscular tissue, right? The second one, muscular tissue. So yesterday only I told you, the muscular tissue means the tissue which helps for movements, body movements. And thing is, we cannot see all the body movements. We can see the movement of our limbs, that means hands and legs. We can see the movement of our chest while breathing. We can see the movement of our head. We can see the movement of our eyelid. We can see the movement of our jaws. But thing is, internal movements we cannot feel. After eating the food, the stomach will be contracting and relaxing slowly. That is a kind of movement, yes, but we can't see that, we can't notice that movement. So most of the movements we cannot notice. Whether it is noticeable or unnoticeable, all the movements are because of this muscular tissue, muscle, right? And here, this muscular tissue are of 3 types. The first one is skeletal muscle, the first one, and the second one is smooth muscle, and the third very interesting one is cardiac muscle. So right now we are having three types of muscles: skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle, right? So the name itself suggests skeletal muscle. That means the muscle. And what will you understand about the muscles when I say muscle? Imagine, muscle means a band like structure, right? If you split the band, inside we can get a very thin fibrous like structures. Just imagine a structure. Sonu papdi, sweet sonu papdi. ನೀವು ಸೋನು ಪಾಪಡಿನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದು ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ. ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನು ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕ್ರಶ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಫೈಬರ್ ಥರ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ವೇ, if we get the muscle actually it is present in the band form, and if we split the muscles and if we zoom inside the muscle means we can see very fine thread like structures, and we will call them as muscle fibers. Those many muscle fibers together they are going to form one strong bundle, right? ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಡ್ಡಿ ಇತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಪಟ್ಟ ಮುರಿಬೋದು ನಾವು. ಅದೇ ಥರದ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕಡ್ಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸಿದ ಮುರಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. When many muscle fibers get joined, they form a strong band. So they will be helping for moving any body parts by the contraction and relaxation. So here the main thing operating behind is contraction and relaxation. So when the muscle fibers get contracted and relaxed, at that time, so we can say the muscles are moving. When the muscles are moving, at that time we can say the body parts are moving, right? So this contraction and relaxation, it is majorly caused by the two, that means majorly contraction caused by two important proteins in the muscles. One protein name is actin, and another protein is myosin. Actin and myosin. So these two proteins present in the muscle fibers, so they help in the contraction and also relaxation. So that finally leads to the movement of muscles, and we can easily observe this kind of movement in skeletal muscles, strong muscles. The name itself suggests skeletal muscles means these muscles are present around bones. That means skeletal system, we are having endoskeletal system, we are having inside a bony part, how our body shape we are having right on. In the same way inside on frame is there bone frame, asthi panjara, endoskeleton. So surrounding the endoskeleton or surrounding the bony parts, this muscle is attached. So yesterday here I drew one diagram surrounding the bone, muscle get attached by the connective tissue. So that muscle which is attaching to the bone, that is actually a skeletal muscle. That means when that muscle will undergo contraction, that bony part will show the movement. That means total part is moving. And thing is, these muscles are the striated muscles. Or let me consider, these muscles are having striations. So this is the major thing. Striation means when we observe a muscle fiber, in the muscle fibers we can see some band like structures, thin band like structures, marks we can see. We'll call them as striations. So striations are the important feature of the skeletal muscles, and these are present surrounding the bone. And if we consider smooth muscles, these muscles are majorly present in visceral organs of our body, very important organs of our body. Say for example stomach wall, respiratory system wall, that means lungs wall, surrounded by smooth muscles. That means those are not usually present surrounding the bone, present in the very important organs of our body, and they help in slight movement. And compared to these muscles, these are the smooth. So the name itself suggests. Why those are smooth means these muscles do not have the marks on the fibers. That means they do not have the striations, right? And the third one, very important one, is a cardiac muscle. So it is the muscle present only in the heart. The cardiac means heart. Cardiography, cardiology means the branch of the science which deals with the studying of heart. So cardiac means it is the muscle present in the heart majorly, cardiac muscle. And why we consider this muscle specially means, imagine in our body all the parts are working continuously to some extent, and after a certain time, the whatever the body part it might be, it will come to rest position. Say for example, my hand, let us consider my hand only. I am lifting my hand. So to some time or to certain time, I can move my hand in this way only continuously, right? And after a certain time, after half an hour or after 1 hour, so I cannot lift my hand like this. Why? Because inside muscles will get fatigued, tired, they will not work. But think about our heart. Heart is made up of cardiac muscle. From our birth till our death, the heart is beating continuously. That means it is working without rest. But actually the concept is actually different. But imagine heart work is continuous, it will not take the rest. Imagine if someday or some moment if the heart says, I am working continuously since when you born, since that time onwards I am working continuously, let me take 1 day rest, let me take half an hour rest, or okay, let me take 1 minute rest. If the heart says like that means, so that is end of our chapter, right? So this cardiac muscle, without fatigue, it will work continuously. So it is a very special muscle present in the heart, right? And one more thing, heart, we will say it will work continuously. Heart will not take the rest. Contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, lub, dub, taking the blood, pumping the blood, taking the blood, pumping the blood. This work occurs continuously. And the heart wall, it is made up of cardiac muscle. But actually interesting thing is that heart will take the rest. More amount of rest it is taking compared to its working time. How? This is very interesting question. The question is that heart will take the rest. It will not work continuously. Actually, heart will take the rest. In how it is going to take the rest? In what way it is resting? So anyone tomorrow answer for this question. Heart, it is also taking the rest. In what form? Right? So heart muscle, it is majorly made up of cardiac muscle. And here skeletal muscle, if you consider the first one, it is voluntary muscle. Right? Very interesting thing. Skeletal muscles are voluntary and these two muscles are involuntary. Involuntary muscles. What it indicates, voluntary and involuntary? Voluntary muscles means the muscles which will work or which will operate on the depending on our will. That means how we decide, on the basis of our will, these muscles are working. Say for example, the muscle present in my hand, the muscle present in my limbs, that means legs, the muscle present in my hand, those are the skeletal muscles, right? Why? Because inside we are having the bone surrounding muscle is the skeletal muscle, and skeletal muscle is voluntary. Imagine right now my hand is like this, right? Whether if I am lifting the hand like this means whether I am thinking of lifting the hand or just it is going as it is, right? Yes, first I have to think to lift the hand, then only the hand is going to lift. That means I have to decide. My brain, my mindset has to decide what to do and what not to do. So that work followed by these muscles. Say for example, now it is moving. If I say stop, so the movement gets stopped. The same way in the leg also. That means those muscles are working according to our wish. Those muscles will refer them as voluntary muscles. But these muscles will work on their own. They will not listen or they will not be obeyed by our orders. They are working on their own. Say for example, just imagine one thing, take the food. After taking the food goes to the esophagus, then it comes to the stomach. Right now, imagine the food is present in the stomach. And now the stomach muscles will start slowly contracting and relaxing. The food get digested inside, right? Now tell your stomach to stop the movement and to stop the digestion. Say to your stomach, whether your stomach will obey your order. Whatever you say or whatever you think, the stomach will start its movement. That means stomach muscles are not obeying our order. They are not working to our will. So that is involuntary muscle. And heart muscle also. If I say to my heart to stop the beating, means it will not obey my order. So its work is continuously beating, contraction and relaxation. So these two muscles are involuntary in nature. And coming to our third one, connective tissue. Yes, so the name itself suggests connective tissue work is connecting two different parts in the body, either two different tissues or two different organs. So its work is connecting just. So in the connecting tissue, majorly we are having blood, special type of connective tissue, fluid connective tissue, and next one we are having lymph. Third one we are having cartilage, and fourth one majorly we are having a bone, and next one we are having the areolar tissue. Right? We are having so many different kinds of connective tissues here. So if we consider the first one, we are very familiar with the blood. Blood is a special connective tissue. It is a fluid connective tissue, helps in the movement of different parts from one place to another place to connect to two different parts. So for example, my intestine, small intestine as well as stomach, they have digested the food. Now the digested food present in the stomach and the small intestine first enters into the blood. So that blood will flow and take those digested food materials and supplying to all body parts. And while coming, it may take the waste food materials or waste material, it may take carbon dioxide, and while going it may take oxygen and antibodies, hormones, enzymes. So many important materials are transported. When the blood is transporting those materials, means it is connecting two different parts. Hence the blood is considered with a special connective tissue. Right? And the second one is lymph. Here lymph, it is the small portion of the blood, just it is originated from the blood. See, imagine this is the blood vessel, right? Inside the blood vessel, blood is flowing. When the blood is flowing, the vessel is very small and the pressure with which the blood is entering, that is more. Because of that reason, so inside a pressure get created, BP, blood pressure inside the vessel. Because of the blood pressure, whatever the watery content present in the blood, that may come outside of this vessel, it may come outside and collected in the gap surrounding the vessel. That collected fluid will refer it as the lymph. And we are having the cartilage. So cartilage means it is a very interesting portion of our body. So cartilage means it is neither too smooth like a smooth muscle or very hard nor very hard like a bone. ಬೋನ್ ಥರ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಗಟ್ಟಿನೂ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್ ಥರ ಸ್ಮೂತು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಥರ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಇಂಟರ್ಮೀಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಕಾರ್ಟಿಲೇಜ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ cartilage, it is the earlier form of bone. That cartilage slowly sometimes get converted into hard structure bone. So let's have this imagine along with one illustration, one small condition. Imagine a small baby, we are having a small baby, just 5 days old baby, a 10 days old baby. It is a very small baby, and when you are holding that baby, suppose if you touch the skull of the baby, right now if you touch our skull, the skull is very hard. That means it is made up of a bony covering totally. We will call it as a cranium. Now the cranium is very hard. Inside we are having the brain. Not all the members, some members are having the brain, right? So we are having the strong structure cranium, and when you touch that baby cranium, 5 days or 10 days old baby, so if you push here, the finger will enter inside. You feel your finger is entering inside. That means at that time it is not a bony part, it is made of a very smooth part. So we'll refer it as a cartilage. Why to go for that one? If we consider here only, imagine if we consider our nose, right? So in the nose, if you observe this tip region, tip of the nose, we can bend it to the little extent, right? That means this tip of the nose, it is not too hard or not very smooth here, or not very soft, so it is intermediate. And if you go backside here, just you press here, it is a very tough here. That means it is a bony part, and here it is cartilage part. This is the cartilage part and this is the bony part here. That means cartilage get converted into bony part. Or else you can imagine this one also, this portion here, pinna, it is not exactly the muscle, it is actually a cartilage, right? And this cartilage we can also feel here in the trachea. So here cartilage also a special connective tissue. So for example, if two bones, if you consider, so imagine, so this tip portion up to this mark, it is made up of cartilage, right? And next one, if we consider a person trachea portion, here the trachea is present here, that trachea also made up of cartilage. In the same way, if we consider the ear pinna, right, the ear pinna of this person, it is also made up of cartilage. Many other parts are there here. And interestingly, the major thing is if we consider two bones, yes, we are having two bones attached like this. For example, this bone and this bone, both are attached here, we will call it as a joint. In the joint, actually here we may see the cartilage. That cartilage will help in attaching the two bones or bone to the muscle. Suppose muscles are attaching to the bone with the help of a special connecting tissue, we will call it as a tendon. And this one we will refer it as a ligament. Yes, ligament and a tendon, these are the special connecting tissues. And next, as usual, we are having the bone. So special, so bone is considered to be the very tough structure in our body, right? And compared to bone, sometimes we can feel the very harder part, that is our teeth enamel. So inside the bone, sometimes there may be hollow portion, and this bone, it is white in color because of presence of calcium salts. So this bone, it is very hard. Why? Because the bone cells, we will call them as osteocytes. Here bone special cells are present, we will call them as osteocytes. So these osteocytes present in the bone are very intricately connected to one another in the network form. along with the calcium salts as a matrix content over there. So it is a very hard part. Bone is also considered to be a special connecting tissue, but thing is it is a solid connective tissue and it is a fluid form of connecting tissue. And another thing, we are having the areolar tissue. Apart from these, wherever we can see the connecting tissue connecting two different parts, gummy like structure, that usually it will be a areolar tissue. And sometimes say for example, imagine our skin, remove the skin means epithelial tissue. After removing the skin, we can see one more layer beneath, areolar tissue. Sometimes in the areolar tissue the fat may be deposited, cholesterol, fat content may be deposited. When the fat content is deposited, then we will refer it as adipose tissue. So that adipose tissue act as an insulator. That means it will prevent the extra amount of heat entering our body, or it will prevent the extra coldness which is present in the atmosphere. It will prevent the allowing of that coldness in our body. It acts as an insulator, right? So these are considered to be the special connective tissues altogether, different types. And last, third one we are having, fourth, last one we are having nervous tissue. So here, if we consider nervous tissue, as in the previous class itself I told you, nervous tissue, it is the vast, biggest, very fastest working, very interconnected, present throughout the body, very special tissue, that is nervous tissue. And nervous tissue forms a special system, that is nervous system. That nervous system majorly having the brain connected with the spinal cord, and so many nerves spreading out throughout our body. And that nervous tissue, it is majorly made up of two special cells. The one cell is neuron and another cell is neuroglia. Neuron and neuroglia, these are the special components of nervous tissue. And nervous cells, if we consider nerve cells, if we consider neuron, it is a longitudinal cell actually. So for example, and already you are familiar with this kind of structure. Yes, so this is the structure of neuron. Already you are familiar with this one. So I think in your 10th class probably you used to ask for this question. You are being asked this question, right? For 4 marks I think. So this is the neuron, and it is the longitudinal cell. That means its length is more compared to other cells. Such kind of many neurons, they connected so many in our body in a chain form, in a network form, right? So this is the longitudinal cell, neuron, connected with another neuron, connected with another neuron, connected with another neuron, that is connected with another neuron. So many neurons get connected, forms one chain, and through that chain the signal is passing in the electrical form. That signal we will refer it as the sensation going, the signal going towards the brain, or the brain will send the message back for different kinds of activities. So this neuron forms that nervous tissue, right? So here just one for tomorrow's homework, what you need to is just draw the diagram. As much as possible, label the maximum parts in the neuron. Already you know the structure, and already you know few parts of the neuron. So the thing is that you have to label the maximum portion. How many parts you can remember, how many parts you are able to label, such many parts you label and draw it very neatly and send that one as a homework. And along with that one, ask another question: heart it is going to take rest. How? In what manner? Right? These are my 2 questions in the next class. So let's start our first PU syllabus. Yes.